Earth, our home, incubator of life, through our lines of life.
Hi, I'm Luminousz Star. Welcome to my channel, Luminousz Star. For you guys and gals who are current subscribers, you know you're my stars, right? Of course you do. Mwah! Thank you so much for your subscription and for the support in keeping my channel active. If this is your first time visiting Luminousz Star, welcome. And to everyone who's decided to tune in today or tonight, wherever you may be, I wish you the very best. And thank you for tuning in. As you guys and gals can see, this is a presentation that I have created on enmeshment as an effective weapon. Again, that's enmeshment as an effective weapon. All right, this video, I'm going to try to make it about 20 to 30 minutes. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. Now, I'm going to be going over points, tools, and some critical questions. And at the end of the video, they will be provided for you. There will be provided for you some references and resources. And you can also look for that in the description box below. Please go ahead and like and share this video and come back and tune in again. All right, guys, for the sake of time, let's go. All right, points. Enmeshment can cause one to become ignorant to what feelings and thoughts are their own versus belonging to another of whom they are having a deep emotional tie or relationship with. Second point, it is common that in dysfunctional families, enmeshment becomes a great aspect, which could cause all participants depression, anxiety, unresolved anger, and possibly neurosis. Okay, this is big here. The spiritual, emotional, and psychological damage of enmeshment is not to be underestimated. That's why I'm saying this is very serious. But it's amazing how many people underestimate the effects of enmeshment. It can take one almost a lifetime before they become aware of the illusion of enmeshment and how it was used as a weapon against them. Third point, the cluster B personality and narcissists often use enmeshment. Pardon me, let me sip on some water. Ooh, good. All right. Third point, the cluster B personality and narcissists, right, often use enmeshment to obtain fuel, control, and sources of supply from those around him or her. As long as one doubts his or herself and chooses to trust those who are untrustworthy, they are in danger of suffering the effects of abusive behavior from others, such as narcissists. Last point, one tactic other than guilt, all right? This is one tactic other than guilt that the cluster B personality often uses to deepen the effects of enmeshment, and that is gaslighting. When the gaslighting technique is ritually applied to the prey of the narcissist, the prey often doubts or denies the reality of how poor the relationship actually is. The prey is brainwashed, conditioned, and groomed into serving the narcissist or cluster B personality as a source of supply. Energy transference takes place, which means the emotions and thoughts of the narcissist can seemingly become that of their targeted prey or source supply. This is enmeshment in full effect. Okay, pause. Now, I want to go particularly to the last point. All right, the tactic of narcissists and cluster B personality. Now, one of the tactics that they use is guilt. Okay, now this often deepens the effect of enmeshment. And they also use gaslighting. Now, what these two things do, these two tactics does, okay, what they do or they does, okay. Now, what happens? Now, I'm laughing, not making light of the whole situation, but just to stay a little light here. All right. So one of the things that happens is that while the narcissist or cluster B personality is using guilt to either shame the prey, you know, in other words, making him or her doubt their own intuition, their own thoughts, their own feelings. So gaslighting in conjunction to guilt tripping, okay, or guilt playing, or making someone else, try to make someone else feel guilty, what that does is deepen the effects of enmeshment. Now, the reason why this is so important to point out is because, again, enmeshment is often overlooked and underestimated as far as like the tactics that narcissists like to use in order to gain sources of supply. Think about it. If a person doubts his or herself, they don't trust themselves, they don't tap into their own intuition, but instead they choose to trust the narcissist who is untrustworthy. Come on. When a person is doing that, they are in big danger. And enmeshment is one of the things that occurs when a person doesn't trust him or herself. They don't trust their own thoughts, their own feelings. They really don't even know who they are. They have a poor sense of self. So enmeshment is one of the things that narcissists and cluster B personality, they love to use as a tactic for source of supply or for fuel or to gain control in the relationship. Again, think about it. A person who doesn't really know who he or she is, and they also don't trust themselves, they don't tap into their own intuition, they don't trust their gut, but instead they trust the narcissist or the cluster B personality, who is notorious for not being trustworthy. I think you guys and gals get the picture. This can be a hideous and ugly mess, because enmeshment, again, is when people, it can not only be two people, but it can be more than two people, but everyone involved in an unhealthy relationship. When enmeshment takes place, this means that people who are involved, they don't even know who they really are. It's like they're handing over their entire essence to someone who can easily be labeled as a monster, or one who behaves as a monster. Very frightening and tragic when you think about it. So enmeshment, as far as like enmeshment goes, the two tactics that deepen it is guilt tripping, okay, and gaslighting. Just really wanted to point that out. I hope that makes sense. But it's amazing to me how enmeshment is underestimated. The effects of it is underestimated and is often overlooked when we're talking about abusive relationships, dysfunctional families, volatile relationships, volatile romantic relationships, and things of this sort. Yeah, enmeshment is rarely looked at very closely, and it is underestimated and is overlooked. Okay, let's go ahead and move on for the sake of time. Tools. Become mindful of how you feel and how you think. By learning to trust you instead of those who have not proven to be trustworthy, you are well on your way to recognizing your own thoughts and feelings versus others who may be emotionally manipulating you. And you are less likely to become suspicious and paranoid of everyone who may not intend to cause you harm. In other words, just lumping everybody into one pot, saying they're all, not trustworthy. So some people who may try to approach you because they're genuinely interested in having a relationship with you, some people, unfortunately, due to enmeshment, one of the effects of enmeshment is that they become highly suspicious and paranoid of others. Okay, that's just sad but true. Okay, in most cases. Second tool, Challenge the cluster B personality and narcissist in your relationship or relationships by internally questioning and fact checking all information they provide. It is possible that the information provided is not out of the goodness of their hearts, but to obtain to obtain fuel or control. Okay, this may prove to become an excellent way to begin critically thinking, which will ensure you're recognizing your own thoughts. Trusting yourself will help you to determine who has proven themselves trustworthy and who has not. Third and final tool. Remember that the nature of the cluster B personality, i.e. narcissist, is that of a predator. Learn who you really are by first realizing that the relationship with him or her can only be unhealthy at best. I know that might sound, grim, but if you think about it, it's quite true. Because narcissists and cluster B personality, they don't do healthy relationships. So at best, dealing with them can only mean trouble. You choose to survive that. Okay, you chose to survive that. So now you are thriving past narcissistic abuse. That does not make you identical to the narcissist or the cluster B personality. Enmeshment is an illusion. Let me repeat that. Enmeshment is an illusion. Invest in you instead of continuing to believe the lies that you have been told about who you are. An individual who does not know him or herself cannot possibly know you, nor tell you who you are. Choose to reclaim your identity and your life. Now, let me go back to that statement that I made in the third tool about enmeshment is an illusion. When it comes to the cluster B personality or the narcissist, the effects of enmeshment are real. But what is an illusion about the enmeshment is that you are not identical to the narcissist. In other words, you are not a demon spawn of the narcissist. I know that some of you may have had experiences where you may have felt that way, okay? But enmeshment is an illusion, whereas it pertains to the cluster B personality or the narcissist, because again, they use gaslighting, okay? And they can also use guilt tripping to deepen the effect of enmeshment. So enmeshment is an illusion. In other words, you're not identical to the narcissist. Enmeshment means that people don't know who they are based off of their experiences in the relationship. Therefore, they can't tell where they begin and another person ends. There are carbon copies of everybody in a dysfunctional relationship. That's enmeshment. So enmeshment is an illusion. When a narcissist tells you who they think you are, no, challenge that and internally challenge it. Okay? And I went over the tools with you. These are actually a few ways that you can begin to break through that enmeshment illusion. Question, okay? Challenge. Now, I don't mean, charge off towards the narcissist or the cluster B personality and confront him or her of all the things they've done. I actually advise against that. Internally start questioning, doing some fact checking. Okay? No harm in that. If anything, that will help you to learn to trust yourself and critically think at the same time. Therefore, you're learning to trust yourself, and you can be open to others proving to you that they are trustworthy. And you will be able to decipher who is trustworthy and who isn't. I hope all of this is making sense. But enmeshment is an illusion. Okay, so critical questions. How many times a week do you journal? Do you take notice of how your body feels when you are around the narcissist or cluster B personality, yet alone when you think of him or her? How do you feel? What thoughts come up for you? Have you become aware of emotional tactics that are used by the cluster B personality to manipulate you into feeling guilt or shame when they do not get their way? Do you have a support base set up to help you continue to successfully thrive forward past unhealthy relationships and narcissistic abuse? If so, how have you expanded it? And if you do not have a support base, why not? Okay, so pause. One of the things that I found to help me out is having a journal or keeping a journal. This gets me in touch with how I feel and what I'm thinking, how I think, and how I feel. So by becoming mindful, because all of that consists of becoming mindful. So by doing that, again, as I stated in the previous slide, that helps me to be focused on me. Therefore, breaking down or breaking the stronghold of the illusion of enmeshment. Now, the effects of enmeshment is real, pardon me. The effects of enmeshment is real, but the enmeshment, whereas the narcissist is concerned, their tactics, they want you to believe that you are a mini me or you are a mini them. You see what I'm saying? So if I were someone that you deemed as a cluster personality, because the history of our relationship has been, I have been, gaslighting you and all these kinds of things, then you may feel that I deem you as a mini me. That's an illusion. So the enmeshment is an illusion in that regard. The effects of enmeshment is real. And again, I'm not trying to confuse anyone, but I hope you guys get it. So when we start to feel and think, right, and we trust that, we are already breaking the stronghold that the narcissist or cluster B personality may have over us. We're reclaiming our lives by doing that, because now we are learning who we really are versus who the narcissist tells us we are, which more than likely is a lie. The narcissist, they don't know who they are, so how can they tell you who you are? And this does include family members. Okay? How can they tell you who you are if they don't know who they are? They've detached from that part of themselves that has the capacity to love. So, in my book, that does not give them credibility to dictate to me who I am. The effects of enmeshment is real. So I have the power or the personal power to choose to break through that by thriving forward past narcissistic abuse and unhealthy relationships. It's a choice. The narcissist, of course, is not going to tell you that. So when we take note of how our body feels and we start to critically think, yeah, the narcissist cannot fight against that. The cluster B personality detests that, because then they lose control and possibly source of supply. So when you begin to look at and really study, like a scientist, really study the emotional tactics that they use, the cluster B personality use in order to manipulate you, again, this breaks down the stronghold even more. And then you are well on your way to not only trusting yourself, having a great relationship with yourself, but you're open to having great relationships and trusting those who have proven to be trustworthy and those that you resonate with. You're well on your way to having great relationships with them and weeding the narcissist out. Okay? So, setting up a support base. All right? And if you don't have it, why not? Don't you think you're worth that? Invest in you. Reclaim your life. Because the narcissist is not going to help you do that. The cluster B personality, they only deem you as source supply. That's it. So what have you got to lose? Rather, I want to challenge you today to look at what you can gain. So the support base is very important. At least personally, I found it to be a game changer. I want to go ahead and point out that these are references and resources here, which are at which is in the description box below. Okay, So I want to thank you all for joining me and tuning in. And I certainly hope that you have been motivated and inspired to continue to thrive forward. I'm Luminousz Star. Thank you again for tuning in, and stay tuned for more videos. I wish you guys and gals the very best.